Well, hey guys, here is a video about this card that you will see in your tutorial, the picture of it. Okay, so I made a video of this yesterday and then realized there was a much easier way to create this part. So we're going to do it the new way. So let's look at what you'll find in your packet, in your envelope. You'll find the card base, the very vanilla card base. Okay, you'll find a piece of vanilla like this. That's one of the things we're going to use right away. You'll find your Calypso coral cardstock. You'll find two pieces like this. One, I have already cut both ends with the lovely label punch. Okay, I use this part right here. So you can use that piece, or I'm going to show you a trick you can use, can do with your postage stamp punch using this piece. So it will be your choice of which you do. All right. So we'll tuck those out of the way. Let's get this stamping done. I'll just grab a little piece of, whoops. Scrap paper. Okay. So we'll use the lily stamp. Okay, at least they look like lilies to me. And Calypso coral ink, which will coordinate with the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper we're going to use. And we're just going to stamp that lily tone on tone right down this paper. Okay. And you can fit them in as you want to. Okay. And just get those lilies on there. Okay. All right, so then we can set that aside and close this before I have ink everywhere, because you know it'll happen. Okay, so this piece is 2 5/8 by 5 1/4. What you're going to do is you're going to take your punch and you're going to roughly eyeball the middle. Okay, now there are some lines that will help you, lines in the punch itself, okay, that will kind of help you visually find the middle, and you're looking to have roughly the same amount of cardstock on each side, and we're gonna say that is probably about good. Okay, so save that piece, you're going to need it for our lily stamp. Okay, then you're going to punch. I'm going to have to go the other way, but that's all right. This pattern doesn't really have a direction, so I'm going to have to go in from each end, and then I'll cut those off. Because you're going to want, your piece is shaped just a little bit different than mine is. This is just a scrap I had kicking around. So let's just make sure that I'm not any wider than what we're doing here. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to have one that peeks through the window. But because it's kind of a pain to get all 3 windows lined up vertically and horizontally with the right spacing without doing a ton of math, which is not my favorite, I figured out a much easier way. So you're going to, either with liquid glue or some of your other adhesive. Just going to add a little bit here, and you're going to put this so that it peeks through the window. Okay, like that. So then, because it's much easier to arrange space-wise on top, you're going to add these two on the sides. So you are going to have one window, but you're going to be doing the illusion of this other window. Okay, so there. There. All right, so now you've got your piece for over here in a much easier way than I was trying to do it yesterday. Okay, so that's good. Now we're going to take and do the little stamp and our greeting. So we'll bring those pieces in. So we'll take our Calypso Coral ink again. And, oh, I don't want to close that yet. We have to do our greeting. Silly me. All right, so let's stamp it on both and I'll show you what your choice is. So you can do this one. Looks very cute. Or you can do this one and I'll show you what you can do with that. But before this ink on our lily dries too much, let's grab our blender pen. Okay, and just make sure that I'm running clean. I am. So we're gonna just pull, this is a fun technique with the blender pen where you have some lines of color in your stamped image, but it's not solid. You can just kind of move that ink and just tint. So I'm not really, I mean, I'm coloring it, I suppose, but I'm really just moving some of that ink into the blossom on the very vanilla so that it takes up just a very light shade of that. So we're just gonna kind of move that color around. Okay, like that. So we're just gonna bring that out from the middle where there's quite a bit of ink. Just gonna move that through. Now obviously we're not going to do the same thing on the leaves because we want the leaves green. So we're going to carefully with our blender pen bring in some color. Now I'm going to clean that off and make sure I don't have any Calypso Coral residue there. I'm going to open my Pear Pizzazz pad, and I happen to know it's got plenty of ink in the cover from something else I did. I'm just going to get a little bit on the tip, and then I'm going to color a little bit off because I don't want it very dark. The flowers aren't dark, so I don't want the leaves real dark either. And I'm going to very carefully and kind of quickly, I don't want to spend a lot of time going back and forth over these with the blender pen, okay, because that will just start moving that ink and I don't want that to happen. All I want to do is put some green in and around that. So I'm going to be kind of quick and careful and go over the Calypso coral lines as little as possible. Okay. So I'm just realizing I could be out of camera. So let me just make sure I'm in frame. So we're just not touching those lines all that much. We're just very carefully adding some Pear Pizzazz ink to those leaves. Okay. Like that. There. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to clean my blender pen, get all the Pear Pizzazz off. Now you notice that the tip stays stained. That's totally fine. Okay, so if you have a blender pen and the tip is stained, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, let's grab a sponge dauber and we'll bring the Calypso Coral ink back in it here for a minute. And let me just quick show you what you can do for this. Let me get my messy part out of the way here. All right, so I'll hang on to that one for a minute. Our punches, you can come in from the back side. Okay, normally if you were punching something, you'd come in this way. All right, we're going to come in from the back and just slide that paper in, and it's going to come out the front. Maybe it's hung up on something. What are you hung up? Oh, it curled down. I see what happened. Here. It only happens when it's really long. All right, we're gonna cut that off so it's not as long, because that's where it was getting hung up. All right, so I want to kind of look and see where I want to punch that at the length of my words. Okay, I'm just going to punch there. So now we have a matching end. Okay, so now our little greeting piece is going to have an end that matches the other. And we'll go right about there. Like that. Okay, so now you have a little greeting piece that has the same kind of an edge as your stamped piece. Okay, just grab my mat so you can see a little bit better. See how that end matches, which kind of makes it neat. So you have your choice. You can use this one that I gave you, or you can make your own. Up to you. All right, so let's just do a little sponging here around these pieces so we can put our card together. All right, so I'll just get a little ink on there and go around, and I think I'm going to use this one today. I think I used the other one yesterday. All right, set that one aside. I don't need to sponge it if I'm not going to use it just now. So you just need to punch your center window so that you have this piece to stamp on, all right? Otherwise, you don't have very vanilla cardstock in your envelope to punch out of, all right? So that's why you're punching one window right in the center there, and then you're just going to add those two punched pieces on top to give the illusion that you've got 3 holes, but you really don't, which is much easier than what I was trying to do yesterday. So when you take your base, you're going to take the side with the raised bump here where it was scored and fold towards that. Give it a good crease with your bone folder or that handy folding tool at the end of your hand. Okay. This is going to go up on dimensionals. So I don't happen to have a sheet that has lots of edges yet. Usually when I'm doing something big like this, I tend to use the edges rather than a whole bunch of individual dimensionals. One more, I think, ought to do it. So I like to do at least a couple to support the middle so you don't get anything caving in, okay? And if you give your thumbnail a little squish into the center of those dimensionals, the backings will be lots easier to pull off. So now we can just put this together really quick and easy. There. Okay. So we're just going to come over here nice and close to the edge. Put that there. Our Calypso coral can go on flat with adhesive. Right along the edge over on this side. Okay. Then we're going to use some more dimensionals to put these on. So do 3 on that, and then I've got some babies right here for our little tiny piece. Now if you don't have the mini dimensionals, just use, like, you can just trim the edge of your regular dimensionals or cut one in half. I really do like these minis for that very reason of not having to do that. And then you don't see them. So give this, sometimes I've put it straight on like that, and this time I did a little jaunty angle, and then we'll have the stamp go the other angle. So we went this way with this one, we'll go this way with this one, and your card is all done. So I hope you really liked that one. I'm glad that I figured out a much easier way to do that. So thanks so much. Bye guys.